5 shots fired near the Kremlin 5 years ago are still echoing through Russian politics. At 11:31 p.m. on February 27, 2015, Boris Nemțov was walking on the Bolshoi Moskvoretsky Bridge with his Ukrainian girlfriend. The 55-year-old former deputy prime minister, a democratic reformer who became a fierce critic of Russian President Vladimir Putin, was gunned down from behind. 5 suspects from Chechnya were arrested and convicted in 2017 of carrying out what investigators said was a contract killing on one of Russia's most prominent opposition voices. Ilya Yashin co-founded the Solidarność opposition movement with Nemțov and former world chess champion Garry Kasparov in 2008. He believes the hit was ordered from someone high up in the Russian power structure.
Понятное дело, что у заказчика политические мотивы, и понятное дело, что Немцова убили для того, чтобы в первую очередь просто запугать тех людей, которые разделяли с Борисом общую систему ценностей.
Many Russians pin their hopes for substantial political reforms on the charismatic former physicist. Thousands marched to mourn and protest his killing.
Теперь власть увидела в этом, она не сильно в этом ошибается, что Немцов и память о Немцове является консолидирующей фигурой, консолидирующей памятью, таким символом.
Nemțov cut his teeth in politics when he organized protests against the building of a nuclear power plant in the post-Chernobyl era of the late 1980s. He was elected as a non-communist member of Soviet Russia's legislature in 1990, talking of multi-party democracy and private enterprise. After the collapse of the Soviet Union a year later, Russia's first post-Soviet president, Boris Yeltsin, picked Nemțov to become the governor of the Nizhny Novgorod region for 6 years. In the late 1990s, as Yeltsin was welcomed by Western leaders, close behind him was Nemțov, who became deputy prime minister and energy minister in 1997. Yeltsin was quoted as saying that he believed the progressive English-speaking Nemțov would become president himself someday. But just over a year later, amid the chaotic privatizations and economic reforms that shook Russia, Yeltsin dismissed his government, including Nemțov. Yeltsin then tapped a former KGB officer as his new prime minister. Vladimir Putin quickly rose to become acting president after Yeltsin unexpectedly resigned at the end of 1999.
Мне кажется, что те, кто говорят о какой-то диктатуре, сами о ней мечтают. И в современной России эта их мечта уже недостижима. Поезд ушел.
In the years that followed, Putin used his power to tighten presidential control over Russian politics, industry, and the media. As an elected member of Russia's lower house, the Duma, Nemțov found himself increasingly squeezed by politicians who wanted to court favor with Putin. In elections in 2003, Nemțov's party failed to get enough votes to win seats in the Duma. Frustrated with what he said was the danger of Putin's increasingly authoritarian rule and a rigged system, Nemțov led protests and multiple projects to investigate corruption.
Общая атмосфера, такая затхлая атмосфера репрессий, лжи, воровства, она на самом деле соседствует с каким-то невероятным страхом, который я, может быть, не сильно чувствую, но наш народ чувствует очень.
Ahead of the 2014 Winter Olympics in his hometown of Sochi, Nemțov published a report alleging that billions of dollars earmarked for the Games were stolen by officials linked to Putin and his business associates. As Russia annexed Ukraine's Crimea Peninsula in 2014 and then backed separatists in eastern Ukraine, Nemțov led protests.
Это антивоенный марш, антивоенный митинг. Это митинг против безумства Путина. Это митинг за наши добрососедские отношения с братским народом Украины.
Less than a year after that, Nemțov was shot and killed. Despite the alleged Chechen contract killers being sentenced to lengthy prison terms in 2017, the bigger question has yet to be answered. Who ordered the hit?
Эта власть не заинтересована в поиске правды по этому делу. Мы понимаем, что эта власть уже 5 лет давайте будем называть вещи своими именами, занимается укрывательством высокопоставленных убийц.
In a report issued on February 20th, a special rapporteur of the Parliamentary Assembly of the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe called for a new investigation into Nemțov's killing.
There need to be as well transparency in the judicial system. It's not an issue about internal issue. A killing of a person is not an internal issue.
Russia is a member of the OSCE, but a top lawmaker rejected its findings.
Считаю этот доклад крайне политизированным, не имеющим практического смысла, и без всякого уважения отношусь к его итогам.
Last year, U.S. authorities changed the name of the square in front of Russia's embassy in Washington to Boris Nemțov Plaza. Similar moves have been made in other cities. The Czech capital, Prague, plans to do so on the 5th anniversary of his killing. Nemțov supporters repeatedly created makeshift memorials on the bridge where he was killed, only to have them torn down time and again. And they still wait for answers.